Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. I want to talk to you today about a product we have here from Greenjoy. It's called the Home Grow Box. Guys, if you watch us on a regular basis, you know that we've been in the middle of a drought. It has been 6.5 weeks here with no rain. We're at 112 days since May the 20th with triple-digit heat indexes, and our crops have all died. There is very little left growing outside. So Wanda and I are looking at products that will help us to raise some extra food during these weather anomalies, and I think this right here is going to be a great product. Now, you can grow things like lettuces and stuff like that in this because this can be grown indoors. And that's the main thing about this. And I want to share a little bit about what comes in the kit with you. Of course, this thing comes unassembled, but it's a very simple assembly, very self-explanatory. Most of the stuff is numbered, not a problem with that. You can just put it right together. It snaps together, locks together. And it can be, there can be multiple units stacked on top of each other, up to 4 or 5 high. And you can grow a lot of food that way indoors. Even during the winter months, you can still grow indoors as long as you maintain the correct temperature. Now, one of the things we like about this system is it's a hydroponic system. The bottom of it, when we get to that point, I'll explain in a little while, where it fills up with water and the roots are actually down in the water growing. And I think that's a fantastic system to use here in the house. Now, I want to explain a little bit about how this thing works. They send a little seed tray here that you fill with water. They have a sponge here in it it's just a sponge, but now these sponges break off in individual little squares. Now, there's a reason for that, and I'll explain that in a minute. But what you do is you completely saturate this thing with water so it won't hold water anymore. And you set it down in here, and then you fill it with water until the water just comes up to the bottom of them holes that's in the top of this thing here, and just barely covers the seed, just a touch. You don't want to submerge the seed in water, because if you do, it'll just rot, but you want it to just barely be on the seed. And you take this thing, and you set it up under the bottom of this here, and now, I have all these little things in here. You don't have to have them in there. I just leave them in there because I don't want to lose them. But then what you'll do is you'll turn this light on here. This thing has an LED light system on that you will turn on here, and it will help to get your seeds up and get them growing. Now, if the temperature is not just right and it's not warm enough, you can take this seed tray right here and put it in a plastic bag and close the end up on it, and create a miniature greenhouse effect so that you can get the little seedlings started. Now, once the seedlings come up in that, and they get to the 2 or 3 leaf stage, and you pick this up right here, and the roots are hanging all out the bottom of it, then you can break these little cells off of here individually, and you can take this thing out of here and lay it over to the side, and the individual cells, these things come out of the bottom here. There's a little basket that sits inside this basket. That little styrofoam cell will fit right down inside this basket, and you can set it inside this little lid right here. It comes with a handy little handle on it, and it's made to where it will just sit down inside here. And this thing has a water level inside here. There's a little green indentation thing in there, mark, that you fill up to the particular line, and they send 2 different solutions here that you mix in with the water so that you can properly fertilize these plants. Now, once you get all of these filled up and you get them all in there, and let's just say we've got one right here that we didn't have a seedling come up that was strong enough that we thought maybe wouldn't live or whatever, and we've got a vacant hole there. Well, what happens is if you have a vacant hole, then light can get down into the bottom of this tray, and if light can get in there, then algae can form. The company has been smart enough to create these little stoppers that goes in the top of these things here, and they're square on the top, and they'll fit inside here nice and snug, just like this. And what that does is you can stick that back down inside there, and that prevents any light from getting up underneath this tray in here. And that, by cutting the light out, you cut the ability for algae to grow out of this thing. So I thought that was a pretty neat little deal, and they actually send 3 extra ones of them there. Now, along with this kit, they send a little measuring cup here, and the little booklet tells you how much of each solution to put in this to mix in the water for your plants to grow properly. Now, if you're, and plus they send these little tab things here like this, markers. You can write on them what you have growing, and they sent 3 of them. So if you want 3 different products, if you have 3 different kinds of lettuce growing or whatever, you can mark the tab in there, and it tells you which lettuce is which or all that. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But now, something that they also send with it, they send a little installer here that has some pins in it. And what you do is this thing mounts against the wall, and you push these pins in, like into sheetrock or something like that. And around on the back side of this, I'm not going to really turn it around just this moment. On the back side of it, there's a little place, and there's an indentation that this thing slides up in, and you pull out the end of this here, and it rotates at 90 degrees. And what it does is it locks this thing to the wall. So if you're stacking like 4 or 5 of them high, you can actually fasten this thing to a wall where it won't tip over or fall down or anything like that. And it makes it a lot easier to maintain and not have to worry about it falling on you, because these little fasteners fasten it to the wall. Now, I'm sure in the video here we will, in the corner right here, you'll be able to see some pictures of these. We'll show you individual parts of this as we're going along. Now, the one thing about this thing is it has so many modes that you can turn it on. Now, when you first turn this thing on, it's going to go into what's called a lighting mode. Now, this lighting mode will run for 14 hours, and it will turn off for 10 hours. That equals a 24-hour growing day period. Now, if I turn this thing on, you see there will be a green light flashing here. This green light indicates that we're in the lighting mode. Now, if you press and hold this down, we go into a standby mode on it. And that means that the timer's still working, but that it will actually click back on later. And if we click it and hold it, it goes back into the lighting mode, or you can click it and it goes into the standby mode, or you can click it and hold it for 5 seconds. It should go into a blue mode here, which means that it will go into a mode where it can click on for a half an hour and run and turn off. Click on for half an hour. It's called a viewing mode. It's on and off where you can view it. And then you click it again and it goes back off. So if you're going to be planting your little seedlings, I just simply remove the center one of them. That way they're all still held in place. Once you put the seed tray back in here, guys, you can turn this thing on to your lighting mode here, and the lights, the green light will be blinking. Like I said, it will run the 14 hours, and your little plants will get the simulated daylight time. Like 14 hours is a normal days of sun in the south here where we live at in the summertime, and then 10 hours of darkness at night. Your little plants will get the same simulation as they would if it was a normal day of growing. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, guys, because the bottom line is this. With the type of weather that we're having today, we need all the ability to grow food that we can. And this here gives us the ability, especially if you stack 4 or 5 of these up high, it gives us the ability to grow a lot of indoor food. Now, I know it's a fancy little system, and but it's all mechanized. It takes care of itself. Once you turn it on, you don't really have to worry about it. The light, the LED light, if your water gets too low in it, the LED light will start flashing green. When you see it flashing green, it indicates that the water level in the bottom is too low when you have your plants in it. And that way you will know to come and add water to the bottom of it here. Now, once you've used this thing for a while, it's just like anything else. The bottom of it's going to get dirty. The water's going to get dirty in it. In the bottom of it here, if I can get this thing out of here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to move this. I'll see if I can pull this up. These little trays come out of it. There is a small pump down here in the bottom of it. Well, on this small pump, they send with it a little clear hose. This little clear hose actually slides onto the top of the pump, and you can reach back in here and stick it back in the water. And when you push and hold one of these things down, when it begins to flash from the green and the blue, green and blue, green and blue, have this thing ready. The little pump will come on, and you can actually pump all the water out of this into another container and actually clean it, because it will pump all the water out for you. You don't have to try to dip it out or anything like that, which I think is a very handy little system. Now, when it's not in use, you leave the plastic tubing off of it and just leave it, just store it so you know where it's at. And I think that's a very handy little system they have for cleaning it here. Now, guys, I'll stick this thing back together. Set it back up here for you and let you see how it is. There we go. Just how simple it is to operate right there. I hope you guys have enjoyed the review on the Grow Box from Greenjoy. Wanda and I are excited to have it. We're going to be using it, and if you stay with our YouTube channel and you subscribe and hit that notification bell, then occasionally, as we show things growing in here, we will give you updates on this, and we will show you the progress of it. It's kind of like Wanda's green stalks that she has outside. We grow a lot of food in them. This will give us the ability to grow food indoors during the winter months, so that we can continue to have fresh vegetables growing here year-round. So, guys, thank you for watching us, and thank you from Deep South Homestead.